Detailed continental records of the last interglacial are quite scarce in Europe, and scarcer are those with also archaeological level. And in northern France, especially, only 2 sites have provided so far metal-paleolithic evidence of occupation during this last interglacial. Those 2 sites are Cahors and Weyer. And at Cahors, the archaeological level have preserved at the base of a large tufa, almost 3 meters high, which also provide a long record of both paleoclimate and paleo-environmental variation during the last interglacial. But what about elsewhere in northern France, and especially in the Seine basin? So in the Seine basin, we found recently the Resson tufa, which is located near Nogent-sur-Seine, about 50 kilometers from the city of Troyes, that you can see in the corner of the map. This huge tufa is already mapped on the geological map, so sorry. Sure. So here, with red dots, you have the huge tufa of Resson in the adjacent valley of the Seine. So this tufa was actually known since the 19th century, and at this time, Paul Flich provided an inventory of all paleobotanical and paleontological remains found in the tufa, including archaeological artifacts. Most of those should have been preserved in the collection in the museum in Troyes, but unfortunately, only planting prints and some large mollusk shells were recently retrieved. Data from the re-examination of the macroflora was recently published in Quaternaire. This work was by Marie-Claude Jolisal, and if you want some details, please have a look to the publication. The first and only drawing of the stratigraphy was provided much later in the 60s by Jean-Pierre Michel, but this drawing remains quite sketchy with few details and even low scale. So we went back to Resson, like in the 2040, sorry, for some new prospection and malacological tests. Altogether, we assessed former data and new observations demonstrate the Eemian age of Resson tufa, and the apparent good preservation and richness of paleobotanical and paleontological remains, especially malacophone, preserved in a well-developed sequence more than 10 meters high, suggests that this tufa has a strong potential for reconstructing environment and paleoclimate dynamics during the last interglacials. Although, for details, you can have a look to another publication on Resson, published also in Quaternaire. At this point, however, little was known about the true archaeological potential of the sites. So naturally, we went back to Resson, as I called the research program formed by the LabEx dynamics on the site. For fieldwork in 2020, we also get financial support by the service, the SRH of Garden. We cut and clean a very long section, almost 25 meters long, which was obviously described in detail. Even if the upper part shows strong perturbation by former quarries, more than 10 meters of tufa are preserved at some location, like you can see on the right, where Pierre is working on the profile, at the edge of one of these quarries with a sketch. During this same fieldwork session, geophysical investigations were performed I won't detail them here, but if you are interested, go and see the poster by Jean-Luc in the envelope. 2 more fixations were needed to sample the tufa continuously and in parallel for both malacology and geochemistry. You can see on the profile, the malacology was every 10 centimeters, while geochemistry in parallel was every 5 centimeters. Analyses are still in progress, but first results are highly encouraging. So here is a panoramic view of the profile. I'm sorry, there is some deformation. But anyway, several profiles were studied, south, north, and the profile 1, except the central part, which was a bit too dangerous to be studied in detail. In green, here, sorry, the contrast is not very good, but here in green, you have a plant imprint level that was obviously sampled for analysis, but also served as a stratigraphical level for correlation between the south and northern parts. First, in the northern profile, a well-crystallized samples of calcite was collected, well-crystallized so suitable for UTH dating, and it gave an age of about 124,000 years, which is quite good for an Eemian assignment. Unfortunately, only few archaeological remains and fauna remains were found. 3 lithic artifacts, including 2 tools at the bottom of the sequence. Here in the underlying gravels and in the very first level of tufa. Most interestingly, we found some bones remains, which were assigned to Fallodir by Noémie Sévêque. And those bones also show helicoidal fluctuation, like the one at the bottom, which demonstrates human intentional action for extracting marrow, so those bones are archaeological artifacts. Conversely to lithic artifacts, they were found in the east part of the profile, that was not observed either in the 19th. Between the 19th and the 60th observation and for new observations, there is some strong discrepancies that suggest that we are not at the same place that former authors. But anyway, work to do again. For the Pleistocene, dating resolution are not good enough to position human occupation within an integration, but paleoenvironmental and paleoclimatical frameworks can be a strong way to discuss the relative position. For instance, here is the isotopic data from Resson, preliminary results. Raleigh data OIT is usually used as a temperature proxy, while data C13 is mainly dependent of humidity condition, moisture. To make it short, Resson show a progressive increase in both temperature and humidity, up to a maximum of temperature and humidity here in the upper part of the profile. This data can be compared to similar data from Kao tufa. So here the 2 sequences are at the same scale. So you can see that Resson is much higher than Kao, but has higher height. Here is a large figure. At Kao, archaeological levels are concentrated in the first meter of the sequence, so below the main tufa sequence, and the main, the uppermost and main archaeological level is contemporaneous of the climatic and environmental optimum. So this means that actually the uppermost level at Kao and Resson may be contemporaneous. Although you can see that the beginning of the Eemian here at Resson, it's much more dilated, record on more than 6 meters, than the one at Capdevielle. So to conclude, it was quite short. The first data of the Back to Resson project confirmed the Eemian age of Resson. We found few but strong evidences of the presence of human during the Eemian Resson, but we need more investigation, especially in other locations of the tufa, to find in place in situ archaeological level. They are already planning for the end of the year. Compared to KO, our preliminary interpretation of isotopic data suggests that Resson will provide a longer, more dilated report of the beginning of the Eemian. And of course, those data have to be combined, compared with bioenvironmental reconstruction, especially from malacology, which are ongoing. And I hope to have more to present you in the next Q Congress, as this work is still